Lecture 5, Part 2, Yahagi's Glorious History and Detailed Specifications, from the World of Warships podcast by Lynn and Dave. A closer look at Yahagi's historic engagements. The story of the Yahagi is one of resilience, action, and ultimately sacrifice. A vessel designed for leadership, she served as a critical part of Japan's naval strategy during World War II. Though her career was relatively short, the battles she participated in were among the most defining of the Pacific theater. Number 1. Yahagi's role in the Battle of the Philippine Sea, June 1944. The Battle of the Philippine Sea, also known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, was a pivotal engagement where Yahagi, as flagship of Destroyer Squadron 10, stood at the forefront of Japan's attempt to counter U.S. advances. As part of Admiral Ozawa's 1st Carrier Striking Force, Yahagi led a protective screen around the carriers Taiho, Zukaku, and Shokaku. Her primary duty was to shield the carriers from U.S. naval aircraft, a daunting task in the face of Task Force 58's overwhelming air power. During this engagement, Yahagi narrowly escaped destruction, emerging unscathed despite the loss of the carrier Shokaku. She also played a heroic role in rescuing 570 crew members from the stricken carrier after it was torpedoed by the submarine USS Kavala. This battle would mark the beginning of Japan's decline in naval air power, yet Yahagi continued to prove her worth as a reliable escort and command vessel. Number 2. The Battle of Leyte Gulf, October 1944. In one of the largest naval battles in history, Yahagi participated in the Battle of Leyte Gulf as part of Vice Admiral Takeo Kurida's center force. This engagement included multiple encounters. Battle of the Sibuyan Sea. Yahagi endured relentless air attacks from over 250 U.S. carrier-based aircraft. While battleships such as Musashi were lost, Yahagi's skilled maneuvering kept her intact. Her survivability under fire exemplified the resilience of her crew. Battle off Samar. Despite Japan's numerical advantage, Yahagi and her fleet faced fierce resistance from a smaller U.S. force, including destroyers and escort carriers. While Yahagi avoided damage, the battle highlighted the increasing vulnerability of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Retreat from Leyte Gulf. Following successive air attacks, Yahagi again demonstrated her durability, safely returning to Brunei. However, the strategic defeat at Leyte Gulf marked the collapse of Japanese control over the Philippines. Number 3. Operation Tengo, the final sacrifice, April 1945. By early 1945, Japan's naval forces were depleted, but the Imperial Navy launched one last desperate mission, Operation Tengo. The plan was simple but doomed. Yahagi, alongside the legendary battleship Yamato, was to attack the U.S. fleet near Okinawa in a suicide mission to delay the American invasion. On April 6, Yahagi departed as part of this task force, leading a flotilla of 8 destroyers. Her orders were to support Yamato, but on April 7 the fleet was intercepted by waves of U.S. aircraft. The American attack, involving 386 planes, overwhelmed the Japanese ships. At 12:46 p.m. a torpedo struck Yahagi's engine room, halting her movement. With her engines disabled, she became an easy target. Over the next 2 hours, Yahagi was struck by 6 additional torpedoes and 12 bombs. Her crew fought valiantly to save the ship, but by 2:05 p.m. she capsized and sank at coordinates 30 degrees 47 north, 128 degrees 08 east. Out of her complement of 730 crew members, 445 perished. Rear Admiral Keizo Komura and Captain Tamaichi Hara survived, along with some of her crew, rescued by destroyers Hatsushima and Yukikaze. Her sinking marked the end of one of Japan's finest light cruisers. Specifications of Yahagi. To fully appreciate the Yahagi, one must understand her design, an embodiment of speed, firepower, and versatility. 1. General characteristics, class and type. Agano class, light cruiser. Displacement. Standard 6,652 tons. Full load 8,500 tons. Length 174.5 meters, 572.4 feet. Beam 15.2 meters, 49.9 feet. Draft 5.6 meters, 18.4 feet. Crew. Number 2. Crew. Complement. Approximately 730 officers and enlisted men. 3. Propulsion. Engines. 4 shaft geared turbines with 6 Kempon boilers. Power output 100,000 shp, 75,000 kilowatts. Speed maximum of 35 knots, 65 kilometers per hour. Range 6,300 nautical miles at 18 knots, 11,700 kilometers at 33 kilometers per hour. 4. Armament. Main battery 6 by 152 mm 6-inch guns and 3 twin turrets. Secondary battery 4 by 80 mm 3.1-inch guns and 2 twin turrets. Anti-aircraft 48 by, I believe that's 35 or 25 millimeter 1-inch anti-aircraft guns. Oh boy. And then 4 by 13 millimeter, a half-inch anti-aircraft guns. Torpedoes, 2 by quadruple launchers for Type 93 long lance torpedoes. Depth charges, 18 depth charges with 2 stem-mounted rails. 5. Aviation aircraft, 2 by Aichi E-13A reconnaissance float planes. Catapult, 26-foot catapult for aircraft launch. 6. Armor, main belt, 60 millimeter 2.4 inches. Deck, 13 millimeter half-inch. Turret armor, 19 millimeter 0.75 inches. Legacy of Yahagi. Though she was lost in the chaos of war, Yahagi remains a symbol of Japan's naval engineering and the bravery of her crew. Her service across critical battles and her ultimate sacrifice during Operation Tengo epitomize the unyielding spirit of those who served aboard. Today, Yahagi is remembered as a vessel that fought valiantly until the very end, leaving behind a legacy etched in the annals of naval history.